I'll yield to none.
Glory is mine.
I'll yield to none.
Greet the Reaper for me.
I'll yield to none.
You're not trying to escape, are you?
Almost got me that time.
Meet your maker.
Try again.
Prepare yourself.
Almost got me that time.
Nice try.
Try again.
like I knew it would. A single drop of source magic. And, like flies to honey, the monsters swarmed. The rebel panicked. The carnage began. And the Magisters pointed their fingers at me. Just as I'd planned. I was shackled and collared, and sent to Fort Joy. I'd come here to kill Godwoken. But instead I became part of their story.
So, still a bit groggy, are we? Don't worry, the sedative will wear off soon enough. Easy now. No need to hurry. Get your bearings and report to me upstairs.
So it wasn't a dream after all. I don't even remember them strapping me down. I don't even remember them strapping me down. Not a very chatty fellow, are you? Boring.
An animal sty. Freight or food?
Shaking her fluffy coat, the sheep eyes you balefully, her rectangular eyes like letterboxes to the void. With one sharp hoof, she kicks you right in the shin. Did you expect a needle? The Magister Guard snorts and sniffles as he sleeps. You're almost impressed that one man can make such a phlegmy racket.
Is my shift over? Are you here to relieve me? Wait, you're no Magister. You're a sorcerer! What are you doing here, filthy lizard? Choose your words carefully. My fists ache to meet a new face. Damn. If it's not one thing, it's another. And no way I can trust those fools to deal with any nonsense on their own. Can't leave the prisoner alone, though. He's been nothing but trouble, I hear. That's all I needed to hear. Just don't let that caged rascal fool you. You can't trust him as far as you can throw him.
Hey, get me out of this cage and I'll make it worth your while. You in? Your guess is as good as mine. Someone screamed, loud as a banshee. After that, pure pandemonium. They never even told me what I was accused of. Just dragged me down here. Set me free, and I'll set you free. A fair trade, I should think. Suit yourself. But we're all in the same boat here, so to speak. You there. Come here. Go ahead and ignore me. But you should know it's not just my freedom at stake. A gentlewoman among jesters, you are. Give that lever a pull, and I guarantee we'll both...
The prisoner's buoyant voice darkens as his eyes rest on yours.
Ah, freedom. Tastes better than wine. I'm nothing if not a man of my word. And I did give my word I'd set you free, lass. Say...
gain by killing me? I need to keep my guard up.
Associates. In fact, he seemed quite averse to spending time with you.
Empty.
Why, you're looking a bit... There you are. Not too tight, I hope. The collar, I mean. Oh, not to worry. Every dog has to get used to its leash. In the meantime, your next stop will be Magister William. All passengers have to be registered in the ship's manifest, and he's the chap in charge of the logs. You'll find him on the other side of this deck, in the officers' quarters.
Did the murderer take him into this room? Or was he already
Why? Because we're at sea, of course, and have been for several days.
Index fingers pressed to her lips, she pauses a moment to give you a scrutinizing gander.
My word, you do seem a bit befuddled, don't you? Perhaps I was a bit too generous with that sedative. Oh, well, I'm sure you'll soon gather your wits. Most likely. Eventually. In the meantime, a new life awaits. And if you're a particularly good girl, perhaps a cure as well. An end to Source. For good.
Good gods! There's been a murder here!
Behind the Magister, a bloodied mass lies in a heap. Gore and limbs lie at odd angles. You can't make out a face amid the mess.
Damn
There's been a murder. A sorcerer was killed by one of your own. Lucky you were busy getting your collar fitted at the time, or you'd be a suspect like the rest of them. Waters is investigating. She'll figure out who did it. Always does. You surprised? You're one of them. You know what sorcerers are capable of? Whoever did this found a way around their collar and killed a man. Small ones this time, thank the gods. We'll find out who did it, one way or another.
A young magister stands pale and silent. Her knuckles whiten around her weapon as you pass.
Ugly sight, isn't it? Burns me up this happened under our protection. We're extremely lucky no Voidwalker followed the source that did this.
The hatch is blocked. I'll need to find another way.
Wife, would you please tell this very charming gaggle of not-at-all brat-like babes that I am by no accounts this Losa woman, nor do I sing, in fact. I'm deathly allergical.
The young woman seems about to raise her hand, but quickly remembers herself and nods pointedly at the excited children.
Who indeed? Why, my name is, Madame Josephine Gribbles de Peeb.
The children break out into giggles.
I say, it is.
Her pinched face cracks into a great grin, and she shoos the children away from...
Yeah, okay, you found me out. Go on and git, and maybe I'll sing you something when I'm good and ready.
She turns to you, dark-eyed and dirty-haired, and smiles flatly.
Gotta keep ourselves entertained, haven't we? You'd presume right. Nope. Trying not to find anything out either. Ignorance is bliss. The utterer, the better.
Suddenly, her eyes cloud to an unnatural black. Greyish veins run down her face, and her mouth tightens into a cruel sneer. As quickly as they came, the clouds clear. She smiles as though no change came over her.
Good luck, Chief.
My mum is afraid of lizards. I'm not. I think you're neat. I'd be happy if I had a tail.
Wow. You're a...
And I don't intend to do away with it. Name? Well, you aren't here on my list. Scrammy. We're trying... Don't you get saucy with me when you clearly know
An elf sits tucked away in a dark spot, lazily rolling dice onto the surface of a barrel. They sound like the dry cackling of an old witch.
Snake eyes.
She chuckles.
I bet that's just what they'll look like. Rolling dice, deciding fates. Don't worry, honey. It isn't yours.
She looks you up and down with the merest hint of a coy smile on her lips.
Never say never, though.
She smiles, contempt.
Just a kitten in a corner.
You've got this wolf on a leash now.
As soon as the Inquisitor gets here...
A broad dwarf sits totally upright on the bench, eyes closed, palms face up on his knees. His beard is a cascade of meticulous plaits, each one braided through with golden medallion. He raises an eyebrow as you approach, but doesn't open his eye.
Listen up, Ghetto. You hear that? The ship, of course.
A wave of sound washes over you. The unintelligible chatter of your shipmates, the groaning of wood from floor to ceiling, the boom, crash and crackle of waves around you.
And?
The fellow cocks his ear.
That isn't anger, it's...
He cocks his ear to the other side.
Anticipation. She senses something. That's all you hear, though. Listen close. There now, just like that.
Squeeze!
Aha!
His eyes snap open as his countenance breaks into an expression of joy. One great paw claps you on...
There! You heard it, didn't you? I knew it! I knew it! Aye, this is good news, Ghetto. Good news. It's the wheel. The wheel. Don't you see, you beautiful idiot? Squeaks whenever the helmsman jerks it clockwise, which means we're heading east. Burn my beard. That means if we've been travelling for... Yes, only 10.34 nautical miles to Fort Joy. Ah, so you've eyes as well as ears, eh? You'll go far, mate. Even here. No indeed, Ghetto. But
the dwarf leans back from the table and strokes his beard, gold medallions jingling merrily. His eyes roll over to you.
That'll be all, thank ye kindly, Ghetto.
Never thought you'd end up a prison guard.
That right? I always knew you'd turn out rotten, Ben Mez.
The Magisters are out for blood. You saw the body, didn't you? Big bruiser like you.
Well, you've got this
Well,
wolf on a leash.
What have we here? A fresh face in this stale hell. Let's size you up, shall we? See if you'll do.
The lizard looks you up and down, like a farmer would a fetching horse. All of a sudden, he grips you firmly by the chin, with the intent of inspecting your teeth.
My, we are fierce, aren't we? Not to worry. I'll soon remedy that. Now then, to business. You will answer me 3 questions. The first one is this. Can you cook?
Well, you've got this.
Goodness gracious me, what a bore. Off with you. Quite clearly, you wouldn't have done at all. Shoo.
Right over the side of this ship with it.
Forgive me, kin. Were that I had more than gruel to serve. If I'd more than cornmeal and rotting roots. Meanwhile, the Magisters feast on honeyed meat.
It was one of them. I know it.
Would you put a knuckle in it? I'm trying to concentrate.
They don't care about us. We're like cattle to them.
I'll give you that knuckle if you keep carrying on.
One of us wouldn't kill our own. They're picking us off one by one.
Can we just skip to the part where I reassure you and you shut up?
You think me mad?
Mad? No. Insufferable, surely.
What are you trying to hear anyway?
I'll tell you if...
The elf is reading a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia. He looks up, his big round eye. He reaches out, flicks a finger against one of your scales, and rubs his chin.
Fascinating.
He sits back and returns to his book, flicking quickly from page to page, completely oblivious to your presence.
What purpose did that serve? Was that a greeting? Was it... Oh dear.
I seem to have crossed some cultural taboo. How difficult. You have my apologies. Perhaps I should demand the same from those red-cloaked humans. They laid their hands on me more than once. I do not believe I have been drawn anywhere. It is simultaneously too detailed and insufficient. I know the beginning of this tale and the end. Tell me, what do you know of our world's history? Oh, please. I have no interest in... No. I want to know about the Celestial. This text tells me that they created all creatures. Where did these gods come from? Who are their people? Where are the others of their kind? Of course you don't have any... Now please, run along. I have a world to decipher.
Here's the register, man. Good, good. Magister Williams, is you faring okay so far? Glad to hear it. You head on in now.
Ask what you must. I've nothing to hide.
And if she tries to run, shoot to kill.
Seems to
You seem on edge, officer.
What on earth
is the matter?
There's a killer about, after all.
Murder most foul. I strongly suspect you know all about it.
Do you? Well, perhaps you're absolutely right.
Standing at the center of the room, you spot a sorcerer haughtily eyeing a pair of nervous-looking magisters. They keep their crossbow trained upon her as she's being interrogated by an officer.
So you admit it then? You murdered that poor fella?
Yes, I did. But of course, that was only the beginning.
She turns her head and looks you straight in the eye.
There are others whose lives must end.
Good God! The woman's mad! You there, sorcerer! Go and fetch Magister Siwan! We need to do more than collar this maniac. We need to shackle her, hands and feet.
It means your journey draws to a close. Do stick around for its finale, though, because...
She reaches for her collar and simply removes it.
I'm just about to create a scene.
Subdue her, men, quickly! If she casts Source, the Voidwoken will come. They'll end us all.
She smiles with wicked satisfaction.
Precise.
What's happened?
doesn't bode well. Onwards and upwards.
Grace, what was...
He eyes the collar circling your neck and reaches a hand towards his blade.
Another sorcerer!
The Magister's companion doesn't blink, frozen in place at the sight of you.
Like you don't know? Mutiny!
He whispers loudly to the other Magister.
Don't just cower there, Rix! Take out your...
Rix grabs his sword, which shakes in the rhythm of his trembling hand. Rix looks to his companion, who then looks to you. They drop their hands to their...
Go on, then. Find a place to hide.
God damn it! Need to get off this wreck, and quick. Bishop Alexander. If Lucian were alive, what would he think of his son's Bishop Alexander? If Lucian were alive, what would he think of his son's divine order? Before this thing snaps into splinters. What in blazes? Something's pounding on the hull.
You pass through the door and are suddenly face to face with an undead. His skull is bizarrely angular, and the skeleton is quickly leafing through a volume of Cranley Hubert's famous encyclopedia.
No. What damn fools record knowledge on a pulped tree? It catches fire, it turns into must when wet, it cannot even resist
The skeleton looks up and notices you for the...
Oh, it's you. Shouldn't you be running and screaming or some such?
The skeleton groans and looks back to his book, frantically flipping from page to page.
I know your god did not gift you with much, but kindly used the little you were given. Do you look at me and think, why yes, there is someone with organs enough to drown? Trifling matters like water and poison do not... No, damp robes are the most I have to fear. Once this glorified skiff hits the seafloor, whereas you, I believe, have lifeboats to pointlessly squabble over. Remember, one of your race's weaknesses is having your lungs filled with water until you can no longer breathe.
The skeleton resumes his search, leafing through page after page. knocking on the door. You press your palm against the door to open it. The wood feels neither cold nor warm, but simply grey. The colour drains from your hand, and you...
For a peaceful stroll.
Dwarfs first, just like the old stories say.
The dwarf yanks at one of the nearby ropes to no avail.
You said there were other people down there. We need to help them.
You see those tentacles, kid? It's time for getting the hell out of here.
There's a ladder right over there.
You're gonna be the death of us, you hear? Had to open your big mouths, didn't
you? The Magister lies on the floor, unconscious and bleeding from a...
Voidwoken!
Beardless bugs won't sink the ship on my watch. Worms take you.
I thought Voidwoken was supposed to be scary.
I'll yield to none.
Let the games begin.
They who are about to triumph salute. I'm ready.
I've faced worse.
Glory is mine. Let's not tarry. This old tub is about to burst.
I hear something. It's Magister Siwan. The one who...
She tries to speak, but can only gape as she clutches her neck, trying to stem the bleeding of a gushing wound. Bloody bubbles froth from her mouth. She's not...
There's no time.
I have plans for you, child. Rise.
Honorable Dallas, we lost a ship sailing sorcerer prisoners to Fort Joy. We assume some escaped and broke their collars. Their vile magic lured the Voidwoken. All who were aboard are presumed dead. Yours faithfully into eternity, High Judge Oriven.
those Voidwoken made short bloody work of the ship. Am I the lone survivor? It seems someone, something, wanted me alive. I thought the Order would get rid of any trace of the old Source King.
The child has a small mirror in his hands. He holds it up at angles, inspecting his eyes, his chin, the crown of his head.
I'm not supposed to talk to lizards. Really? Like, what kind of stories? A dragon that marries an elf? That sounds silly. Can I hear it anyway?
You warmly tell the tale of the dragon, but despite your best efforts, you notice that your knowledge of legends and monsters is somehow upsetting the...
Are you a sorcerer? One of those guys that brings the bad void things here?
The child looks at you straight on, unafraid, searching your face. He lifts his mirror to his nose, closes one eye, and looks at himself again.
I don't see any source on you or me. I guess they're wrong. Or crazy. Maybe you're right. At least they don't mind where anyone goes. They know we can't leave the island, and it's a lot nicer out here than inside. But you didn't die. Guess I am, but it's just normal to be scared. Nowhere isn't scary. There isn't anywhere safer. You'll see.
Voidwoken! Those are the same beasts that sank our ship! Damn, they've made it to shore.
You spot a strange lizard, gazing over the water with a steady, malcontent stare. His skin is of a bright, blood-red colour. Could he be... Yes, you recognize him from the ship. It would seem you're not the only one who survived the tentacles of the deep. The lizard turns about with the graceful ease of a dancer, or a duelist. You lock eyes with his, two smouldering embers.
I did survive, yes. And chances are I wouldn't have, had you not returned to the aid of your fellow passengers down in that dreadful hold. You have my gratitude.
Hand over heart, he salutes you with a bob of the head. More than a nod, though less than a bow.
Yes, I'm sure you've all the makings of a hero and all that, but let's not get carried away, shall we? Now then, if there's nothing further... I'm sure I don't mean to sound condescending, but I had thought it quite self-evident I was gazing out over the wave.
He sighs.
Tell me, what do you see when you cast your glance over this ocean? Touché.
He looks out over the water once more, and so do you. A few tranquil moments pass as the waves lap against your thought.
As for myself, when I consider this vast expanse before us, I see an empire. I see continents dotted with mighty cities. And shimmering along the soft curve of the sea's horizon, I picture the palaces that formed my paradise. Lost. Of course, it's rather specific. Quite obvious.
Suddenly, having all the air of being deeply offended, he stares at you with...
Well, don't just stand there gawking like an ape at an abacus. Or do you really mean to tell me you don't know who I am? The very same. I am the Red Prince, the All-Conqueror, the World-Tamer. Of course you know me.
There's a brief moment's pause, during which his grandiloquent pose deflates ever so slightly.
That said, I suppose I must own up to the fact that I find myself rather in between all-conquering and world-taming. The grandeur that is my fate has hit a bit of a snag. But never you worry. For the throne I was destined, and my throne I shall have. This and that. Tag along. Do you really mean to compare the On the other hand, I really could do with a dog's body. And you've already proven to be trustworthy. Fine. On one condition. For reasons I'll not disclose right now, it is imperative that I should meet with a dreamer, one of our kind's revered mystics. I've reason to believe one of them may be present on this island. Promise me we'll look for him, and I'll extend you the blessing of my company. Jolly good. So, now that that's settled, first things first. Even if you are as versed in the art of eloquence as I am, that our swords will be doing a lot of the talking from here on out goes with... As a born fighter, I prefer the perfection of the blade myself. But I'm well acquainted with the secrets of magic, and yes, even subterfuge. What say you? Very well. Onwards, then, to
The Red Prince nods and gives you a smile that wavers ever so delicately between courtesy and contempt.
Now, as you're aware, you'll be travelling with a prince. Proper forms of address include Your Majesty. As your luck would have it, I seem to be fresh out of luggage. Of course, there are other forms of protocol to bear in mind, but I'll see to it you'll pick up the rest as we go.
A black cat. Some would see this as an omen.
The cat's eyes are clouded and grey, but its eyes clear, and it shakes its head. The cat's eyes are
lot nicer here than that's... I'm sure glad you went back to save the others. Saw one of them wringing out their tunic at the shore.
The cat's eye, it appears...
We already know the truth, Magister. Now speak. Stay back, sorcerer, and stay silent. Our Godwoken speaks.
We know you've been helping sorcerers escape, Atusa. We have proof.
I'd sooner cut my tongue out than lie to you, Alexander. I know nothing of any escapee.
If you can tell the Godwoken no more, your tongue is of no use.
This can't be serious, Alexander. Come!
You should know by now to obey your superior, Magister, whatever she may ask.
Stay silent, lizard!
Atusa pinches the tip of her tongue with 2 fingers and brings her dagger to its root. Her eyes squeeze shut.
Stop! My father, may his soul rest in peace, would be disappointed in you, Atusa. To think you would... The fate of our realm hangs in the balance. If you will not help us save it, then you will help the Void destroy it. Dallas?
Yes, Your Holiness?
I believe we're done here.
Come on, old man. What a waste. Come, we'll be needed elsewhere.
The Lizard Magister, or what's left of her, lies in a puddle of gore.
She was a lizard, yet a magister. No matter her reasons, her penalty was fair.
I got my eye on you, Scaly. Don't try any of that sauce business on my watch, or I'll do to you what the hammer did to that traitor. Well, that's true now, isn't it? With that little ring around your neck, you can't conjure so much as a boo. Like a cat without its claws, ain't you? Bishop's the son of the dead divine. Don't know when we'll get a new one, but Alexander's looking after us in the meantime. And the hammer's a solid sort. Don't take no guff and don't stand for no idling. Earned that name for a reason, she did. During the time of Lucian, of course. Who wouldn't join up with God himself? It was when we lost him. Well,
It only made sense to see his will through. Can't for certain, but I reckon when God himself gives his life to protect you, you don't waste the gift. So that's what we do. Lucian gave his life to protect Rivellon. If we let the void... Fort Joy ain't no summer camp. No one said it were, but it's the best we've got to...
Did you see him? You did, right? Those claws. Wonder what's behind the masks, too. Can't the Geists, dummy. The Hammer and Alexander had 2 in tow just a moment ago. Ugh. Thought you lot'd be interested in a thing like that. Won't find nothing better than a Geist, not in your life. But I don't picture you with Geist companions, oh no. Now why don't you move along and settle in? A Magister will come and find you when they're ready for you. Could be a...
We already know the truth. Stay back.
I do not... This cup...
You should...
Atusa pinches the tip of her tongue.
Stop! My father, the fate of our... Dallas?
Yes. What a waste. Come, we'll be needed elsewhere.
The lizard magister, or what's left of her, lies in a puddle of...
She was a lizard, yet a magister.
Did you see them, miss? Bishop Alexander and the Hammer herself. They were so close, almost within arm's reach. They were just there but a moment ago.
You keep his name out of your mouth, you filthy cod chewer.
You, help me teach this beast. He must respect. If not, he comes for you next.
Respect? Huh. Someone's got to keep this place running. Griff can't do it for free. Why'd you gotta make this so hard?
An intense-looking man steps between the thug and the elf and rolls up his sleeves, revealing well-muscled and heavily scarred arms.
Just stand aside, won't you, mate? This is no...
Lone wolves decide their own business.
The thug freezes in fear for a moment, before shuffling back to the protection of his crone.
Pay up, elf. No one shorts Griff. Especially not one of you. You two ought to be thanking your lucky gods it's us, and not the Magisters enforcing round here. A fool never knows what they've got till it's well and gone. Now come on, elf. If you make me say it again, there's gonna be trouble.
Is that indigestion, or is it... Oh, God. Not now.
I ain't gonna say it again.
No, never.
If you want her, you'll have to get through me first.
You elves always want to do it the hard way, don't
Oh, I don't feel so good.
Amidst a crowd of screws, bolts, and scraps of metal, the woman is manipulating a glove-like contraption fitted with 5 long metal...
And what you after? I ain't. Just seeing how it's made. She's clever, Dallas. Made these herself. For those bodyguards of hers.
She looks up.
You looking to buy something? All manner of things. Have a look. Found it in the scrap heap not so long ago. We used to know each other. Never knew her to be much of a wrench head back in the day, but once she joined the Order, she started turning out all manner of oddities.
She nods once.
You looking to buy something? Or do you just want to waste my time with a whole lot of questions? Oh, I don't know. She was a sweet soul, quiet, loved her family. Always seemed strong as I recall, but people do change, don't they?
The man rolls his sleeves back down and casually wipes some blood from his cheek. He nods at you, the shadow of a smile on his...
Could have used some help back there, I'll tell you that. But all's well that ends well.
He stretches out one rough hand to shake yours. He grips your hand tight as a vice and shakes.
Good to meet you, lady. Say, you don't look all that busy. I could use someone to watch my back, and it looks like you could use someone to watch yours. I've just got a small errand to run. And then I'll be looking to get the hell out of here, while I've still got a neck to collar. How about we stick together until we get out of this place? The usual way. Haphazard, terrifying, and drenched in blood. Haven't quite worked out the details yet. 2 heads are better than 1. And when push comes to shove, 4 fists are better than 2, right?
He grins, sharp teeth glittering in the...
So, before we hit the road, it's best if we decide battle strategies up front. Should keep more of our blood in. Survival's my main priority. I'll use every trick in the book to keep us alive. But if a wayfarer's not what you're after, I've got others can do. Onwards.
He scans the horizon for threats with one green...
Right you are. Lead the way.
The woman looks up as you approach, wiping her brow.
What do you need? Ha! The hammer got you curious. Yeah, funny name for a gal like that. When I knew her, the...
She nods.
Clever lass, her. Oh, I don't know. People do change, don't they?
Indigestion, or is it...
Oh God, not now.
A fella can't hear himself think with all this racket. Day and you hear that, Farah? You got to cut that out. What's happened to you?
Known her all my life. Her little girl Irma, too. Farah was a straight-shooting woman in those days, but now she's madder than a cuckoo and twice as loud.
Distraught don't even begin to cover it. She's hollering after that child of hers, killed by a void woken she was. Been dead and buried for a month now. Never even stepped foot in Fort Joy. And there ain't no amount of hollering that'll bring...
Please, I'm sorry, but you must leave. My baby's terrified of lizards. She may be hiding from you even now. Irma! Irma, darling, are you here? Please, sweetheart. Where are you? I'm sorry, but you have to go. What have you...
She ignores you.
I don't think I ain't watching. That's your fifth blue jester this round.
As she catches sight of you, recognition flashes in her terrified eyes. She drops her hands from her throat and starts hyperventilating.
Ben! Ben, miss! Ethan! Ben, miss! You killed them! You killed them! He killed them all! Murderer!
A little respect for Griff's right hand,
Keep him away from me! Help! Stay back. Stay back. Keep that monster bednest away from me.
It's too tight.
Do we really need chitter-chatter while we work?
Stay back. Keep that monster bednest
Ifan shrugs off his backpack and reaches into its depths. After rummaging around...
Have a read of my contract and...
Grab it in your gobblers, the both of you!
If you don't like the game, Topsy, you can fold.
No. Just because the pair of you are filthy cheating liars don't mean I can't beat you.
Time to find this Boris fellow.
Respect for Griff's right hand.
You've read my contract. What does that look in your eye mean?
He raises an eyebrow and folds his arms.
Me, not you. But you can come along for the ride. Suits me. If we can make it within sniping distance of him alive.
The woman is scrabbling at her throat, as though she can hardly breathe.
Don't touch me! You're too close. This collar, this place. I can't. How is it possible? 1 minute you're in the garden in the sun. The next you're here.
Her hands move again to her throat. She seems to try to make space between her neck and the collar, but there's no...
Stay back. Stay back. Keep that monster bednest away from me.
Looky here, mates. A fresh face. We love fresh faces. Why don't you join us in a round of cards? First hands on the house. Chuff to you, Chief. Here are your cards.
You glance at your hand. 2 purple monarchs. A hard hand to beat.
Well, that was easy. Looks like you'll have to pay your interment fee after all, Freshie. I'm sure the Reds told ya. No one gets along without paying the interment fee. So, let's make this easy. Empty your pockets. Don't think your connections will get here in time to save you if you don't pay up now. We'll see about that, Freshie.
death over us all.
To none.
Healing!
Did you see them, miss? Bishop Alexander and the Hammer herself. They were so close, almost within arm. They are all that stand between you, me, and the Void. And then you prove your... Come on then, Lexi.
You.
Respect.
An intense-looking...
Just stand the...
Lone wolves.
The thug...
Pay up, elf.
The intense-looking burrow looks you both...
Ah, get out of here. The both of you.
The elf smiles and...
Follow me, before more of them trouble us. There is a safe place.
The man rolls his sleeves back.
Good work there.
He stretches out one rough hand. He grips your hand.
Good to meet you. I've just got a small errand to run. And then I'll be looking to get the hell out of here while I've still got a neck to collar. The usual 2 heads are better than 1. And when push comes to shove, 4 fists are better than 2, right?
He grins.
So, before survival's my main priority. Can do.
He scans the...
Right you are.
Leave me. Go. You
So this is Fort Joy.
What a crumbling disaster.
As you approach the unsmiling Magister, Ifan catches your arm and speaks to you with some urgency.
I need to talk to this one for a few moments. Alone.
Ifan strides up to the Magister, speaking in a calm and controlled voice. Though you can't hear what he whispers, the Magister's face turns...
Don't! I'll give you the information. Here.
Ifan walks back to you, leaving the quivering wreck of a Magister behind. When he catches your eye, he winks. The cat's eyes, it appears... Ifan catches you looking over...
What? Oh, it's just practice. All in the way you set your jaw, I only do it when it's necessary. And it was necessary back there. He wanted me to kill someone. I didn't want to kill them. Being a little impolite seemed the least bad option. That's about the size of it for me, all right. And now that...
After reading the scrap of paper he took from the Magister, Ifan...
Ah, you've read my contract. What is that?
He raises an arm.
Me. But you can come along for the ride. Suits me.
The Magister stares at the ground, unaware of your presence. With a start, she looks up and realizes...
The Divine is dead. The Bishop is all we have left. Yes, our Lord Bishop is human, and so is his father, the Divine.
Her voice trails to silence, and she resumes...
I do wish Alexander would ascend sooner rather than later. They say his powers are not developing as they should. They blame the Voidwoken. But we need his powers to develop so that it's quite the pickle. I put my faith in the Bishop. Reminds me of his father. And what he said has been true. Wherever there are sorcerers, Voidwoken strike.
You looking for a match? You'll have a good head on most of the competition, that's for certain. A good tail, too. Poor lugs won't know what hit 'em. You'll find out.
Ain't fit for beasts.
Griff is slowly, methodically peeling the skin from a potato. As you approach, he looks up, setting the potato, but not the...
What? Who's asking?
He smirks and holds the little knife up to the light.
I'm listening. Can't help you there. If I could, I wouldn't be here peeling goddamn potatoes. Thugs. Look at it this way. People get lawless here, and we all starve. Oh, they'll cure you of your sauce. Nightshade will cure you of an headache, too.
Hands out your pockets, now. What do you want, freak?
Heading into the kitchen? Don't try anything funny around, Griff. I'm watching you. Ha! Cheeky. What's your name? I'm Butter. Nice to meet you. You mean it? Or is that another line of yours? I used to play the harp, you know. Mostly around Arcs, although sometimes we'd travel down to Driftwood. Might be you saw... You think? I was raised by the whip. And I'm not... Joining up with Griff's the closest thing you can get to security around here. Family, too. Till the Reds take you, anyway. There's a gap between what we want and what we can have, isn't there? Here more than anywhere else.
She looks into your eyes and smiles impishly. Then,
How very right you are. Look, I have an idea. I know we don't know each other very well, but time is so short and a connection is so rare. If we get out of here, will you meet me again in Arcs? don't care where you come from. Don't even care who you are, but I feel a connection, don't you? So, you'll meet me? These strange times can't last forever. You'll meet me then. Like what? I don't know what you mean. It's just I've many connections in Arcs, and I thought you might want the help. Now I've got to get back to my post. Need something in the kitchen, do you?
Hey, I know you.
Losa, the dark-eyed jokester you met aboard the ship, waves enthusiastic.
Back then I was... you. Nothing like a nice tentacle slap across the moor to set the tone for the week, eh? How'd you escape? I saw you fall. We all did. When we get out of this place, I owe you a... So you managed to swim to safety, is that it? What about when you were in the water? Didn't hear anything unusual, did you? No. I mean, not more unusual.
Losa's voice catches in her throat. The joy drains from her face. Her eyes, she is stock still, waxy skinned, her eyes dark. Greyish black veins run from her eyes down her cheeks. Her head snaps to you mechanically, and her eyes lock with yours. Dark pupils, light suddenly flashes back into her face. The grey vein...
Anyway, what were we talking about? Ah, it's nothing really. It's just... I'm just a bit... well, a bit... hospitable? Ha! What I mean is, look, you've never been a host, right? That's 'cause you're like a clump of leaves on the side of the road. That ain't bad, though. I'd give just about anything. But I'm a roadside inn. Red door, flowers out front, friendly lady at the door beckoning you in. Like a goddamn gold star inn for the disembodied. Feels like just one, strangely enough. Big one, though. Don't know its name yet, either. It takes time for them to get... So, how are you enjoying the joy? So true. And you can stay as long as your heart desires. So, you want to check this place out together? Strength in numbers and all that. It does, right? Before we head out, I've got more than a few tricks up my sleeve, so you'll have to pick which one I'll... Lately I've been into the enchanting arts, but I can shoot, slash, summon, steal, whatever your little black heart desires. So, what'll it be? Sounds fine. So, we're good to... I know the feeling. Sounds fine. Yeah? Well, that was easier than I thought. And I'll...
Bow your head, please! If we chant the endless prayer, the next divine will ascend, even if your kind has displeased the god so terribly of late. It isn't the words you speak, but rather that you speak them. Prophecies, haven't you heard? Bishop Alexander, the divine's own son, is God. Do not doubt that he will come into his powers.
It's time. You there. You've just arrived, isn't that right? Are you quite alone? It's just, I've a proposition. Something very worth knowing. But It's hardly a group affair. I only need one. Oh, noble. But after the Magisters take you all, good luck with your friends, though.
Irma? Where are you, darling?
She's gone. I don't think I am watching. That's your fifth blue jester this round.
Is he?
What of it? Yeah, what of it?
The woman is scrabbling at her throat, as though she can hardly breathe.
Don't touch me. You're too close. It won't budge. I can't breathe. I can't.
She breathes deeply and...
Thank you.
The woman is scrabbling at her throat. As she catches sight of you, recognition flashes.
Ben Nest, Ethan, Ben Nest, you killed them. Keep him away from...
That's it. I call court. Pay up. Looky here, mates. Why don't you join us in a round? No problem, Freshie. In that case, enjoy your stay. But I'll be needing to collect your interment fee first, of course. I'm sure the Reds told you. No one gets along without paying the interment fee. So, let's make this easy. Empty your pockets. To be sure, Chief. Pay up and you get to keep your eyes. Sounds pretty satisfying, doesn't it? Go on then. Whatever pennies you've got in your pocket ain't worth my breath. But don't you go telling Griff I was soft on you. Another inmate, but you wouldn't guess it. Runs this place like he's Dallas herself. Shouldn't be too hard to find.
Greetings, child. Frightful far from home, ain't you? Visited your ancient empire myself a long time ago. The Divine's light sure shines on your kind. Aye. I know that all too well. I feel his absence within my...
Tired of the view in here yet?
Seeming surprised, Ethan gladly takes the drink from your hands and...
Ah, that hit.
He holds the flagon out to you. The alcohol hits you like the void itself. Your head spins and your feet feel unsteady. Suddenly...
This reminds me of sharing Rotgut with Roost and the boys. So tell me, if we weren't stuck here, what would you be doing with your time? And what better adventure could there be? Relic of flame. That brew went straight to my bladder.
A little respect for Griff's right hand, Topsy Girl.
Stay back. Stay back. Keep that monster bednest away.
Say, I don't know the ancient empire ditties. Got nothing spicy enough to keep my mind off this place for a few bars.
That's what happened, isn't it?
Please, excuse us.
You're talking to me, not her, Sam.
Oh, for the love of Lucian, Balladeer.
Say it again. What you said about my wife. Go on. Piss off. Go on, Sam.
Well, it's the truth, and you know it. She's better off. So what if it was messy? I'd rather puke myself to death 1,000 times than let the Reds get to me. If she were my wife, I'd be happy for her.
A flat smile twitches across Balladeer's...
She never did like you.
The man looks for a moment at the corpse at his feet, then turns back toward the nearly finished coffin, bloodied hammer in hand.
Murder's a big word. And no, this here's a bed for someone 1,000 times better than that snake. Rest her soul. The love of my life, Gret. She passed.
He tenderly runs a hand along the coffin's...
If she were here, she'd tell me this plank is crooked. Chastise me for using warped wood on her final bed.
The man holds a hand to his cheek for a moment. He turns from you.
Not an attempt, mate. Not if I can bloody help it. Time's up, Your Highness. Let's dance. It's stabbing time.
I'm ready.
nuisance these assassins are. It's their frightful manners I mind the most, really.
I'd say we're making good progress already, no?
Ifan tips his fingers to his temples.
Well, that was rather fun, wasn't it? I do find it ever so invigorating to cut a cutthroat's throat. Oh, one gets used to this kind of thing so quickly. This is hardly the first time someone's filled some poor fool. I'll tell you what, though. Whomever wants me out of the picture will have to do a lot better if they see all those bumblers they've sent so far mark a mere...
As soon as I saw that glint in your eye, I knew we'd make a...
Ifan nods and surveys...